Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit the US on the 12th and 13th of February at the invitation of President Donald Trump. Prime Minister Modi to co-chair Artificial Intelligence Action Summit in Paris, will open an Indian consulate in Marseille during France visit. The International Criminal Court condemns US sanctions, vows to continue providing justice and hope to millions. And US Secretary of State Marco Rubio to visit West Asia on his first trip to the region after Trump's Gaza plan. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting the United States on the 12th and 13th of February to meet President Donald Trump. This was disclosed by Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri during a special media briefing of India's External Affairs Ministry.
At the invitation of the President of the United States of America, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi will pay an official working visit to the United States on 12th and 13th of February. This will be the first visit of Prime Minister Modi to the United States since the inauguration of the second presidential term of President Donald Trump. You would be aware that Prime Minister would be amongst the first few world leaders to visit the United States following the inauguration of President Trump. And the fact that the Prime Minister has been invited to visit the US within barely 3 weeks of the new administration taking office shows the importance of the India-US partnership and is also reflective of the bipartisan support that this partnership enjoys in the United States.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also be visiting France from the 10th to the 12th of February, where he will co-chair an Artificial Intelligence Action Summit in Paris. He will also open a consulate in Marseille during his France visit.
Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi will be visiting France from 10th to 12th February 2025. This visit is on the occasion of the organization of the Artificial Intelligence Summit, the AI Action Summit that France is organizing. And Prime Minister will co-chair this AI Action Summit alongside President Macron of France. The visit will also include a substantial bilateral component.
And Prime Minister Modi will address an India-France CEOs forum. President Emmanuel Macron of France will also host a dinner in honor of the Indian Prime Minister.
There will be a bilateral component to the visit. The Prime Minister and President Macron will address the India-France CEOs forum, and they will also hold discussions in both the restricted and delegation level talks format. This visit will also take the Prime Minister out of Paris together with President Macron. He will travel to Marseille in the evening of the 11th of February. That evening, President Macron will host a dinner in honor of the Prime Minister. The following morning, on the 12th of February, the two leaders will together visit the Mazarg War Cemetery. This is a war cemetery that is maintained by the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. And this will be an opportunity for both leaders to pay tribute to the sacrifices made by Indian soldiers during the First World War.
The Foreign Secretary spoke about India's interest in AI applications that are designed, developed, deployed and used in a safe, humane, responsible and trustworthy manner.
India's own priorities, again, for those of you who follow the subject closely, you would be aware that we are interested in AI applications that are designed, developed, deployed and used in a safe, humane, responsible and trustworthy manner. There are, of course, issues related to the inclusive use and application and deployment of AI, and of course on the possible, in a sense, inevitable technology gap that we expect these kinds of developments to create, and which it is our effort to try and minimize as much as possible.
All right, moving on. India's central bank, the Reserve Bank of India, on Friday cut repo rate, the rate at which it lends money to other banks, by 25 basis points to 6.25%. This is the first such rate cut in 5 years, the last one being in May of 2020.
The MPC decided unanimously to reduce the policy rate by 25 basis points from 6.5% to 6.25%. The SDF rate shall be at 6.0%, and the marginal standing facility rate, also called the MCF rate, and the bank rate shall be 6.5%. The MPC also decided unanimously again to continue with the neutral stance and remain unambiguously focused on a durable alignment of inflation with the target while supporting growth.
RBI's Governor Sanjay Malhotra estimated that real GDP growth for next year will be around 6.7%.
The RBI has estimated that real GDP growth for the next year to be at about 6.7%, with Q1 at 6.7%, Q2 at 7%, Q3 at 6.5%, and Q4 too at 6.5%.
The governor highlighted the growth of various sectors as well.
Economic activity is expected to improve in the coming year. Agricultural activity remains upbeat on the back of healthy reservoir levels and bright Rabi prospects. Manufacturing activity is expected to recover gradually in the second half of this year and beyond. Early corporate results for Q3, and we have more than 50% of the results now as we speak. It indicates a mild recovery in the manufacturing sector. Business expectations remain upbeat, as evident from the PMI Manufacturing Future Output Index.
And Governor Malhotra added that the RBI aims to increase efficiency in the economy.
We will continue to strengthen, rationalize and refine the prudential and conduct related framework. I think this is very important in the overall interest of our economy. The economic interest also warrants increasing efficiency in the economy, and this too is our duty. We recognize that just like there are no free lunches, regulation to enhance stability and consumer protection too is not devoid of costs. There are trade-offs between stability and efficiency. We will keep this trade-off in mind while formulating each and every regulation.
In other news, the H-1B visa cap registration for fiscal year 2025-26 is set to open on 7th March and close on the 24th. This year, employers will face a significant hike in the e-registration fee, jumping from $10 to $125 per beneficiary. The increase, along with a beneficiary-centric selection process, is part of the Biden government's efforts to reform the H-1B system. A day after U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order targeting the International Criminal Court, the latter hit back, vowing it would continue to provide justice and hope around the world. The Hague-based court, in a statement on Friday, said it condemns the issuance by the U.S. of an executive order seeking to impose sanctions on its officials and harm its independent and impartial judicial work. The court said it stands firmly by its personnel and pledged to continue providing justice and hope to millions of innocent victims of atrocities across the world. Trump had ordered asset freezes and travel bans against ICC officials, employees and their family members, along with anyone deemed to have helped the court's investigations. The United Nations has also deeply regretted Trump's decision to slap sanctions on the ICC. It urged him to reverse the move. Earlier, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order that accuses the International Criminal Court of engaging in illegitimate and baseless actions targeting the U.S. and its ally, Israel. The Trump government has long opposed the ICC's investigations against the U.S. and allied nations, calling them unfair and politically motivated.
U.S. President Donald Trump slapped sanctions on the International Criminal Court on Thursday. He signed an executive order saying the court had abused its power by issuing an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He ordered asset freezes and travel bans against ICC officials, employees, and their family members, along with anyone deemed to have helped the court's investigations. The move coincides with a visit to Washington by Benjamin Netanyahu, who, along with his former defense minister and a leader of Palestinian militant group Hamas, is wanted by the ICC over the conflict in the Gaza Strip. Senate Democrats last week blocked a Republican-led bill that would have sanctioned the ICC for pursuing Israeli leaders. The 125-member ICC is a permanent court that can prosecute individuals for war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide, and the crime of aggression against the territory of member states or by their nationals. The United States, China, Russia, and Israel are not members. There was no immediate reaction from the court, but the Netherlands, the country's host country, said it regrets Trump's sanctions order. The U.S. House passed a bill last month to sanction the ICC, but Senate Democrats blocked it last week, saying the bill could backfire on U.S. allies and firms. Anamika Pandey with Lipakshi Khurana, DD India.
A U.S. decision to cut U.S. aid funding has triggered a backlash in the U.S. too. People have voiced opposition to cuts in a key program that funds AIDS relief. The Trump government is likely to retain only 294 U.S. aid staff out of the more than 10,000 working around the world.
Protests have erupted across the U.S. against many policies and executive decisions taken by the U.S. President Donald Trump. Protesters gathered outside the U.S. State Department in Washington, D.C. on Thursday to voice their opposition to cuts in the U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, or PEPFAR. More than half of the program's grants are implemented by U.S. aid. The protesters chanted slogans as police surrounded the area and rerouted the traffic. Trump government's effort to slash American foreign aid is also crippling the integrated global system, as per experts and according to the humanitarian organizations.
What they've done is completely illegal. Actually, Congress is the one that enacted a law creating PEPFAR. They're the ones that created the United States Agency for International Development. It's actually not up to Secretary Rubio, it's not up to the president, and it's certainly not up to Elon Musk to decide to destroy that, to abolish that. That's actually a clear violation of Article 1 of the Constitution that actually says it's up to Congress.
Officials have warned that millions would be at risk if PEPFAR program is not extended further. According to the State Department, PEPFAR has saved more than 26 million lives globally.
We've already seen what happens where if you privatize healthcare, then there will be cherry picking. Cherry picking of who gets funding. It won't be on merit. And also people will be forced to pay out of pocket. Because HIV treatment is lifelong, that is too much to put on the shoulders of people living with HIV around the world.
US aid has been a target of the government reorganization program spearheaded by Elon Musk. The Trump government plans to keep fewer than 300 US aid staff out of agencies' thousands. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come on DD India Live. The head of UN Atomic Watchdog visits Moscow for talks amid nuclear safety concerns in Ukraine. Vandalism, arson spread in many districts of Bangladesh. Former President Abdul Hamid's house set on fire.
Timeless, boundless, and infinite. The essence of faith. The soul of Sanatan culture. From the sacred confluence of Prayag, where divinity descends to earth. Witness the grandeur, the devotion, the magic. World's largest cultural and spiritual gathering, with over 450 million devotees expected to attend. Mahakumbh, India's greatest festival of faith. Exclusively on DD India.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Panama has rejected the U.S. claim that it has secured a free passage for U.S. government vessels through the Panama Canal. The next report tells you more.
This could well be the first embarrassing moment for the US Department of State under the Trump administration. In a sharp rebuttal, the Panama Canal Authority refuted a claim by the United States that it has secured free passage for government vessels through the Panama Canal while bowing to US pressure to quit a key Chinese project. Panamanian President Jose Raul Mulino expressed his rejection of managing US-Panama ties based on lies and falsehood after the State Department's claim.
That is intolerable, simply intolerable. And today, Panama to you and to the world expresses my absolute rejection of continuing to explore the path of managing the bilateral relationship based on lies and falsehoods. Our ambassador in Beijing presented the corresponding document according to the agreement to announce the cancellation 90 days before. That is a decision I made.
The statement by Panama was released just hours after the announcement by the US Department of State. It denied any changes to the tolls and other fees. The statement said that Panama Canal Authority representatives would speak to US President Donald Trump on Friday afternoon. Panama further said that it had presented a document to exit the Belt and Road Initiative, but denied that the decision had been made at the request of the United States. Trump has accused Panama of charging excessive rates to use its trade passage, one of the busiest in the world. As per the Neutrality Treaty signed in 1977, when the United States agreed to return the canal to Panama, US military vessels are granted priority passage through the waterway. But all other ships must pay tolls that vary depending on size and type. Bureau Report, DD India.
Meanwhile, China has criticized the U.S. for smearing and sabotaging the Belt and Road Initiative in Panama through pressure and coercion after Panama decided to exit the program. China's Foreign Ministry on Friday expressed regret over Panama's decision and urged the country to consider the long-term interests of both nations. Panama formally announced its exit from the initiative after meeting U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, though President Jose Raul Mulino denied that the U.S. had directly influenced the decision. U.S. lawmakers introduced a bill to ban the use of Chinese artificial intelligence program DeepSeek on government devices, alleging that the company has direct ties to the Chinese government. This legislation was proposed by Democrat Representative Josh Gottmeier from New Jersey and Republican Representative Darren LaHood from Illinois, citing serious data security and national security risks. The lawmakers further described the AI model as an alarming threat to U.S. national security. Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein have been caught in the crossfire of a trade war between the United States and China. PVH Corporation, the parent company of the two American apparel brands, was added to China's Ministry of Finance's unreliable entities list. In a statement, a Chinese Ministry of Commerce spokesperson said it found PVH discriminated against and obstructed the activities of Chinese companies. The announcement came just days after U.S. President Donald Trump imposed a 10% tariff on Chinese imports. However, PVH has criticized the decision. It said it would work with Chinese authorities to resolve the issue. Mexico's troops began guarding a fence sneaking along the U.S. border as part of a deal with U.S. President Donald Trump, who delayed tariffs on Mexico in exchange for increased efforts against illegal migration and fentanyl smuggling. But locals are skeptical that the soldiers will make a difference insofar as drug trafficking is concerned. About 2,000 troops were assigned to Tijuana as part of the 10,000-strong border reinforcement that Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum pledged under the deal with Trump. They quickly got to work guarding and patrolling the border, searching for clandestine tunnels used to smuggle migrants and drugs alike. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will make his first visit to West Asia this month following President Donald Trump's comments on relocating Gaza's population. Secretary Rubio is set to attend the Munich Security Conference, after which he will visit Israel, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar and Saudi Arabia from February 13th to the 18th. Speaking earlier Thursday during a visit to the Dominican Republic, Rubio indicated that Trump is also seeking support for Gaza's reconstruction from nations with both the economic and technological capacity to assist, likely referring to the wealthy Gulf Arab states. Israel informed the United Nations Human Rights Council that it will follow the U.S. in withdrawing its participation, the ambassador to the UN in Geneva said on Thursday. Council members have frequently raised allegations of Israeli human rights violations in the Gaza conflict. Israel rejected the finding. It said it takes care to avoid civilian casualties. It's long criticized the Geneva-based body and has disengaged in the past. Israel's envoy to the UN in Geneva said the Human Rights Council has been a biased body since its beginning, with dictatorships lecturing democracies on human rights. The chief of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Grossi, is in Russia's Moscow on Friday and held a meeting with Alexei Likhachev, the head of Russia's nuclear corporation, Rosatom. Grossi said the number of attacks on the Russian-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine had increased. Likhachev said that Ukraine was constantly carrying out attacks on Energodar, the closest town to the nuclear plant. The trip comes after IAEA's chief's visit to Kiev on Tuesday. In Bangladesh, an uncontrolled mob vandalized and set fire to the residence of former President Abdul Hamid in Kishoreganj district on Thursday night. According to local media reports, a large crowd stormed the house, broke into the premises and looted valuables before setting it afire. Earlier in the evening, a mob demolished the Kishoreganj district Awami League office using a bulldozer, escalating tensions in the area. The Daily Star newspaper reported that houses of Awami League leaders were attacked and torched, and murals and busts of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman were demolished and defaced in nearly 24 districts on Thursday. India's Department of Biotechnology organized the Center State Partnership Conclave on Bio-E3 policy on Friday. Representatives of different states of India gave their suggestions to develop the Bio-E3 policy and action plan. The Bio-E3 policy envisages to develop Bio-E3 cells in every state and UT of India, which will act as national enablers in biomanufacturing, research and development, industry needs, developing bio-AI hubs and bio-foundries. Addressing the occasion, Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh invited the states to strengthen collaboration and secure funding through public-private partnerships, venture capital and government grants.
Biomanufacturing, we are also, I think, among the first 12 in the world, number 3 in Pacific. So we started making very rapid strides. And now as we are open to private participation in every sphere. So we have to strategize that, and states have to come on board on the same lines. And if we join the larger, it should be extended synergy, center, state, let all of them join together. PP here, PP there, and all 4 PP. 4 Ps. So that wider extension will make it sustainable. We have BIREC is one of the very successful experiments, like in space we had in space. So 2 successful experiments in Government of India of having an effective interface to promote collaborations between private and public sector.
And that's all for this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can get the latest news and updates on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen now to download it. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran from all of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.